The software experience is something that I think a lot of Android users are actually going to hate. I think people coming from an iPhone though would love the software experience of this device. I want to start my 1 month review of the Google Pixel 6 talking about some of the bugs I've had. Now, I did a separate video just on the bugs, which I'll link up here, but overall, I've had a relatively bug-free experience with the Google Pixel 6. I had 1 or 2 issues with Instagram Reels crashing. I had some overnight battery drain issues. My fix for that was turning off mobile data when on Wi-Fi, restricting some background apps, and putting the device in battery saver mode when I go to sleep at night. Now, I have a lot of other feelings about the software on this device, why I love it and why I hate it. But first, my name is Mitchell. I'm fluent in tech, so you don't need to be. I like to make videos about tech I use, like cameras, cell phones, and headphones. Next thing I want to talk about has been battery life. Currently, I've been working from home, so I haven't had to leave the house for extended periods of time with my device. But in my experience, I'm getting about 6.5 to 7.5 hours of screen on time, depending upon whether or not I'm on Wi-Fi or LTE. I don't have 5G where I live in Vietnam, but I've had pretty good experience with the device on 4G LTE. Screen on time has been pretty good, throwing in some mobile gaming, some background music, some streaming music from Spotify. And in my experience, I haven't had much of an issue getting through a day's use with this device. And if you need to go ahead and charge the device up, you probably shouldn't get the official Pixel 6 charger. I did a whole video about that, which I'll have linked up here. But needless to say, it's going to be quick charge 3 more or less. If you have a 30 watt PPS charger, you're still looking at a pretty long 0 to 100 charge cycle simply because of the software that Google has on the Pixel, which restricts how quickly the device will charge in order to save battery health over the long run. I'm perfectly okay with this, but you might not be. Build quality on my device has been great, no rattles, no creaks. All of the panels line up. I know other people have had issues about that. And overall, this device feels about as well made as my Samsung Galaxy S20 FE, as well made as my Xiaomi Redmi K30 Pro and my Xiaomi Mi 10. It feels relatively flagship, maybe not up there at the top of the class, but you will definitely notice the weight, along with the camera bump, which is what takes me into my next point, talking about the camera. Now, I did a full camera comparison, this versus the S20 FE with Gcam, and needless to say, this device has an absolutely phenomenal camera, and it's really, really good in low light environments and for long exposures. That said, it's not the most consistent device for photos, as sometimes you'll get photos with way more washed out color, way more vibrant color. It's just a little bit more hit or miss, whereas Samsung, you can always count on getting the super saturated colors. This, you're gonna get a more contrasty image. I like it, and I've been really surprised with the video quality on it, which is the next thing I want to talk about. Video quality on this device has been really, really good. HDR video with EIS, 4K 30, 4K 60, H.265. I've recorded for up to about 10 minutes in length with relatively low ambient temperatures below the 20 degrees Celsius mark, and I haven't had any overheating warnings with my Pixel 6. I know other people have, but for my style of filmmaking and making for videos here on YouTube, no problems with the device overheating. On the subject of overheating, I want to talk a little bit about gaming, because I've been trying to get this device to drop frames and like stutter when gaming. And over the month I've had it, I've played a lot of Call of Duty Mobile in a case while charging, and it's performed really well. Like, I haven't had a lot of issues with it with dropped frames, max graphics, max frame rate, and I leave the device at 60 Hertz usually. So if you're a 60 Hertz gamer, it will run Call of Duty Mobile, no problem, max settings. If you're a 90 Hertz user, you might encounter some issues, but I generally keep my device at 60 Hertz. I'd prefer the extra battery life, and I don't see the biggest difference of 60 versus 90 Hertz personally. On the subject of 60 versus 90 Hertz, I want to talk about the screen. Screen brightness on this has been around that of my S20 FE. It's been fine in our relatively cloudy weather here in Hanoi. It's definitely not as bright as my S20 FE screen, definitely not as bright as my Redmi Note 10 Pro screen. That device was over 1,000 nits at max peak auto brightness sunlight mode, but I think that unless you're out in direct sunlight. Screen for this is gonna be totally fine. Gets super dark at night, which I like. And the viewing experience on it is pretty good, although it is definitely tuned for more natural colors versus super saturated, pukey Samsung color. The software experience is something that I think a lot of Android users are actually going to hate. I think people coming from an iPhone though would love the software experience of this device. Myself, coming from Samsung, coming from Xiaomi, which have tons of tweaks, tons of little things that you can do in the settings to really customize the user experience, you don't have that as much with this. And a lot of it is just Google's, we think that this is the best way of giving you a user experience, you like it or you don't like it, which I don't think a lot of Android fans are necessarily going to gravitate to. I think that for people that are looking for a change, don't they know I'm recording right now? That honk is so annoying. I think that a lot of like super nerdy Android people, if you're into flashing ROMs and stuff like that, you might not like this just because you don't have the ability to really granularly tweak stuff. For example, on Samsung's One UI, you can go ahead and disable fast charging so that you can go ahead and extend the life of your battery. Google will just limit your charge speed. You either like it or you dislike it. Samsung allows you to disable fast charging so you can use fast chargers. Google doesn't, they just limit the fast charging speed through Google's own algorithm. You're either really going to like this Apple-esque approach to the Google Pixel 6 or you're going to hate it. I personally don't love it, but I don't hate it. In fact, I would say that this is the most different Android experience that I've ever had, just because it's still Android. All of the things I like about Android are still there, but some of the more granular settings and tweaks that I know keep a lot of the hardcore users with Android are not there. You might not like that. I think that this device had a very, very buggy launch, but if I were to be asked the question, and I get this question a lot, S21 FE, S20 FE versus Google Pixel 6, now that the S20 FE has dropped in price, I think that it's pretty easy for me to answer. If you want a device that runs Android the way Google intends it to be, and if you want a device that is going to get more features over time from Google, then the Pixel 6 without a doubt. If you want a device that gets you really close to the generic Android experience, definitely go for Samsung. But this is unique in that it's going to change the way you interact with your device. You're going to use Google Assistant a lot more. You're going to use rules a lot more. You're going to use a lot of kind of the really specific features of Android that Google wants you to push, and that's going to change your user experience. And you're also going to get features before everyone else. I'm running Android 12L right now, and it runs really, really well. But that's kind of it. I think that you're either going to love it or you're going to hate it. And if you love iOS for the simplicity of iOS and how Google and how Apple does things, you're going to like the Pixel 6. If you like the way Samsung gives you so many features and tweaks, you might not like this. Okay, that's been my 1 month with the Google Pixel 6. Until next time, it's been Mitchell. Peace.